What's going on? Happy Thursday night. This is the Orlando Real Live. And so my name is Ken Posick. Appreciate you guys hanging out. And tonight we're talking about a whole bunch of things. I'm a little under the weather. I was supposed to have a co-host tonight, and I was like, I feel like I don't want to get that person sick. And so just me tonight hanging out with you guys. And so we'll probably run for a good 20 or 30 minutes tonight, talking about all things real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando. One of our top stories tonight is that Florida has now overtaken New York as one of the most expensive real estate or overall real estate in all of the entire US. And so we're going to dive into where and why and all that good stuff and a whole bunch of other things. But what we always do when we start out our show is ask, where are people watching from? So I can get a good mix of ideas of where people are watching from. I've been doing this now for I think 2.5 years now, going live. And I used to do it on Saturdays. And it was funny because I'd go Saturdays midday and I have a lot of people from the UK. And then I switched it to Thursday nights, just really more for like a family reason. I wanted to see my kids on the weekends and not have to, spend all day Saturday online. And now I've noticed that I'm getting a lot more people from like the West Coast and Texas and just all in the United States. Definitely an interesting thing. So let me know down below, where are you guys watching from? We got people checking in from Apopka. We got John checking in from Clermont. Dude, I'm going to be talking a lot about Clermont tonight, and I'm excited that you're hanging out with me. So thanks for checking out. Oh, look at this. Greetings from Northwest Indiana. I appreciate that. Lou checking in from KWNYC. What's up, my KW fam? We've got Stephanie checking in from Simpsonville, South Carolina. What's going on? Christina from NYC. We got Jesse Peters. What's going on, man? You're looking good. You're always looking good, Mr. Jesse. Let's see. Oh, Holly's got a good question. We're checking in from Epcot. You flew from St. Louis yesterday. Any suggestions on where you should go for my birthday night? No kiddos. It's supposed to be a soaking rainy day. Listen, Holly, I was going to leave this for later in the show today, but since you asked so early, I'm excited about a new restaurant that's just opened up. And if you've been over at Disney Springs, there's the Summer House on the Lake. And this is something that a lot of people have been very excited about coming on. It's a more of a higher end experience over for the Disney Springs area. And they're open. They're actually taking reservations starting yesterday. I'm going on Saturday night with my beautiful bride because we're going to try it out. And there's a lot of really good stuff. They got an in-house bakery. They've got craft brews. They've got lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. And if you check out some of the starters, let's go through the menu together here. We've got like jalapeno cornbread, cheesy dream puffs. We've got prime rib meatballs. That's on the brunch menu. And then the dinner menu looks amazing. So check it out. Summer House on the Lake at Disney Springs. They're doing reservations. I don't think it was on the My Disney Experience app for quite some time. I was kind of checking. So I used Open Table to get a reservation, and that was a pretty easy one for me. So yeah, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I'll let you guys know next week. On our last show of the year, next week, I'm very, very excited to kind of recap some of the biggest stories in Orlando that happened over the year and just kind of go over that with you guys. So thanks again for checking in. Brenda says, Merry Christmas from St. Charles. Merry Christmas to you. We got Martin JK checking in from Illinois. So a good mix of people from all over. This is really, really cool, both local and checking in. Got let's see, Lake Eola checking in, downtown Lake Eola. What's going on, Jenny? All right, so let's get into the top story of today, which was that Florida tops New York as second biggest U.S. housing market. Now, this is a huge deal for those of us that live in Florida. Obviously, pricing of housing here in Central Florida and all over Florida has really kind of taken off. And so you look at where are some of the biggest changes happening in the states per se. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, it says Miami home values are up 80% since the start of the pandemic. So are properties in Tampa and Jacksonville, while Orlando is seeing an increase of more than 70%. And so substantial population growth in the state is one of the reasons why Florida pricing has climbed so fast, according to the article. And I agree. You got a lot of people moving here. And one of the number one things that people say in our comment section, people talking over, we got some team members checking in. I got to say hi to you. What's going on, Fallon Moore? We've got Grace, Justin, Ray, and Blake checking in. Good to see you guys. Excited to hear how your night goes. So I almost canceled, but I know you guys were hanging out tonight. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to fight through this voice thing that I've got going on, and we're gonna make it happen. So anyways, so many people ask in the comments section, or you talk about on YouTube or in Instagram, they're like, yeah, well, we don't have enough jobs to keep up with the pricing of the affordability here in Florida. And I totally understand that. And so looking at, we need more higher paying jobs in general. And so when I start seeing stories like this, which is that Bank of New York Mellon actually is going to be lining up a 300,000 square foot place in Lake Mary. They're going to be adding another 1,200 jobs in the banking sector. Many of these are six-figure jobs that they're adding, whether they're relocating or hiring local. And this is a really big win for the Orlando Economic Partnership as well as the state of Florida, because there were some funds behind this. And so not only are people moving from New York to Florida, but their jobs are also relocating from New York to Florida. So I think that this is a big deal. When we see the financial sector start picking up, the tech sector, the healthcare sector, all of those things to me are just a really big deal. And I think that, yes, hospitality is going to be the backbone of Orlando. Like, that's not going to change. But as the job situation hopefully improves, people will be able to afford it. But let's keep talking about affordability, because I think that this is a really, really big story over the past week. Now, the pricing for mortgages has now dropped from 8% at the beginning of last month all the way down to 6.62 on average for a fixed cost loan. And if you look over here, they talk about an FHA mortgage is down near 6.13. And this is a huge deal when you talk about affordability in general. Yes, we need more better paying jobs, but if we can get the mortgage rates to drop down into the fives or so, things start to feel a lot better. I read an article a couple months ago that said basically prices need to drop roughly into the fives, or pricing of the homes need to come down like 30%, or overall job salaries need to rise 30%. And so we're not going to see any one of those specific things happen, but if it's a mix of all of them, we did see pricing drop in some areas of Orlando and raise up in others. But if we get better jobs and these rates kind of figure themselves out, I think that we're going to be off to the races next year. Many people said that they didn't think rates would come down into the sixes until like next summer, and not fives until probably 2025. So the fact that you can get an FHA rate at the 6.13 mark right now, I think this is a big deal. And so let me know what you guys think down below. Martin JK says 3% is what we need. I mean, listen, man, I would love 3% because I'd go buy some more investment properties, lock them in like I did. But I don't think 3% is coming back. That was essentially free money. And I think that that's a dangerous thing. We're just kind of kicking the can down the road on inflation, about a lot of the other things that happen. But a good 5%, that I think kind of moves things the way that they need it. Johnny says, who would have guessed that low taxes, freedom, and warm weather would be more attractive than people with the complete opposite of New York? It's crazy, man. It's crazy how that stuff works. Absolutely. Sorry, Lou, by the way, I know you're watching from New York, but just send your people down our way. We will take care of them for sure. What's going on, Miami Coffee? I don't have a coffee tonight, man. I just got some water, trying to stay hydrated with this. I lose when I get sick, I lose my voice like so fast. I'm trying to keep it going here. Where else did I miss here? Holly, let me know. He said, thank you. Let me know if you check it out. I think it's a cool place. It looks amazing. Every time I walk past it, I was always like enamored. It feels like a really higher end experience. So I think that that's very cool. Let's keep talking about what else is coming to Central Florida. This is a big one for the good people of Clermont. I talked about it earlier that I'd be talking about Clermont. So Clermont Council advances mixed use lumberyard district. So if you look over, this is actually right on Victory Point, right downtown Clermont. So you've got Lake Minneola right here. And this is kind of the downtown area of Clermont, if you're looking down here. So that's Victory Point. Right next to it, this guy owns like 12 acres, and he's going to, oops, that's the summer house. Let's go back over here. He owns like 12 acres, and they're basically redoing this whole like lumberyard district is what they'll call it. So this photo you're looking at here, let me try to get rid of my face. Let's see if we can just do that. There we go. This is the sawmill. So this is going to be, by the way, this is by the Growth Spotter. They situated on South Lake Trail. The Sawmill Entertainment Center will be a 2-story open air destination featuring games, music, food, beverages, supporting downtown commercial users. And that's just the start. You start going through some of the other stuff that they've got going on. This is the district that they're looking to create. Pretty sweet, actually. I mean, so this is Victory Point over on the left that you can see, and then all of these new white buildings over on the right. This is going to sort of elongate the downtown area for downtown Clermont. And I've been talking about Clermont for the past 2 or 3 years. I think that this is the next Winter Garden easily. They've got lakes, they've got rolling hills, they've got lots of land. And so the downtown area is definitely better today than it was last year or even a couple years ago. But as this stuff starts coming in, it's going to draw a lot of people to the area. And so as accessibility gets easier with new toll roads going in, and I mean, 27 is already really easy to get around, but as new toll roads come through and make that a more accessible area, I think it's going to be really, really cool. So going down here, they're going to be doing some apartment buildings. Obviously, that's how they're going to make money long term. But one of the things I kind of loved was this sort of apartments over retail down at the bottom. It says Timber Hall will be 3-story mixed-use buildings with retail and dining on the ground level, with some sort of residential above. I hope that they use this space, because if this is where I'm thinking it is, this will have views of Lake Minneola, and to me, that's like, they hope they sell them instead of rent them, because like a 2-story townhouse over retail overlooking the lake, like I might buy one for like retirement or something. I don't know. But it's a really cool looking spot. So let me know down below what you guys think of Clermont. If you've been to the area, have you been driving over there from time to time? Let me know what you think. Diego has a question. Another question, why do I think that the downtown Lumberyard Park business units are moving so slow for new businesses getting open? Too expensive of rent. Amazing job, and hoping to meet you soon. Diego, it's an interesting thing, man. I think that they have a lot of different concepts coming to the Lumberyard Park, the main area of Lake Nona. I do think that over the next 18 months, we're going to start seeing a lot more level up. It was wild because there was this flurry of new buildings that popped up, and then they kind of sat vacant for a while. I do know of a few different like smaller businesses coming, but I think what I believe is that they want to try to fill up most of the space with corporate employees and traffic before they start opening up more retail. Because right now, if you look at like how Lake Nona is spread out, you've got the airport off to the left, and I know you live out there for sure. Like we DM on Instagram all the time. But if you look at where Lake Nona is at, you've got the airport section, and this is one of the reasons why like Trader Joe's will never come there, because when they look at their demographics, they have to look at the average rooftop within a circular area, and the airport screws it up in terms of like per capita. But when you look at what you look like Lake Nona and Tavistock want to do, they need more corporate people. They need more people living there, more bodies that are going to be able to use the retail. Because I don't know if you've ever been over to like the PF Chang's over there, for example. I mean, there's a lot of those businesses that they have open that are doing okay, but I don't think that they're like lines out the door sort of thing. And if I was a small business, I'd want to have the people there. That's my opinion. Anyways, that's what I see going on. Miami Sports says Clermont is beautiful. Absolutely. Oh yeah, actually I do have one more thing going on downtown. Diego says another one. Cheers, Ken. Thanks for bringing such valuable information. Hope I'm not being repetitive question, but today mortgage is below 7%. What's my view on that? Oh yeah, we talked about that. That's exciting. I think it's great, man. I think they're going to be low 6s for 30-year here shortly, which is going to cause a refi boom, which is going to put more properties on the market. I think there's going to be more people willing to sell their house because they can look and pop over. I've got a good friend of mine who just bought a house this week, and his builder, this is in Tampa, so it wasn't here, but he was like, my builder bought me down into 5% flat. And so you start seeing more of that. There's going to be people more willing to move. And that's the sort of like thing we've been having an issue with. Much different than in 2008, where people had no equity and they couldn't afford their house and they were upside down on it. And so they were like, hey, I'm just going to let it go back to the bank. Then we had all of this inventory pop up. Now people have a ton of equity and really, really low rates. And they're like, I'm not going to go switch a 3% rate for an 8% rate. Well, I think most people, from what I see, that they would switch a 3% rate for a 5% rate if it was the right house. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think 2024 is actually going to be a more exciting thing than a lot of us thought. Spencer and Fam says deposit for a little vitamin C to fight off that cold. Man, I appreciate it. I got these little packets at home that I switch back and forth from like athletic greens to like crazy vitamin C. Oh man. Kate says she's leaving New Jersey because of the cost. You know what was interesting? New Jersey had a massive influx of people as well. I don't know if it was the cost from New York or whatever, people going over there, but from the property taxes that I talked to, when people are moving down, like it is insane what y'all pay up there. That's for sure. What else we got going on? All right. So I want to talk about one other thing about sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. Just kidding. There's a huge new development actually. First look. Nope. I hate dead space. I usually talk straight and don't take a breath for 45 minutes, but I do want to find this one because I think it's a big deal. Let's see what other questions. Oh man, my favorite places. Really enjoyed meeting you at the Christmas open house. Man, thanks so much for coming out. I do appreciate it. It was a really good time. We had this most incredible Santa Claus come to visit our office. And we had a lot of our past clients and many of you come out and take a look and get photos with Santa. It was a really good day. But this guy was like, he had a concertina. I didn't know what concertina was, but he kept saying the word. And so that's how I learned it. And he was singing and just like carrying on. It was very, very cool. Oh man, this is driving me nuts now that I can't find this, but all right. Anyways. All right, so J Miami says, what do you think about buyers who want to buy cash? I've had several offers, but is this a scam or worth looking into? Listen, I mean, if your house is listed and you're getting cash offers, you just have to look at where the money's coming from. If it's like written on some Word document and it says like, JJ's money bank from Miami, you might want to look into that a little bit more. But if it's on like Chase or Bank of America or something else like that, I think that happens all the time. We've got like something like 30% of our houses right now are selling with all cash offers. Many people are selling, taking their equity and then paying cash for something. So this is a very normal kind of thing. Eli says, anything new on the Orlando Dreamers? Not since 2 months ago when they filed plans with the county. I would expect that to be a massive, like year-long process between design and permitting and all that good stuff. And I think once they get it all approved, then they go to the MLB and see if anybody wants to move here. So we shall see. Lenny says, hey, I made your live. Love your content, sir. Well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Kim, I know you're building in Clermont. That's so awesome. You're like, you love Clermont, and I'm excited for you. I really am. What else? Ficken says, everything okay, Ken? Yeah, I just got like a crazy cold. My kids were sick. My wife was out of town. I was taking care of my kids. And like, you can't not like, hug and love on your kids. And they were crazy sick. And I got like a day where I was like, they're better and I feel good. I'll be fine. And then boom. No, sir. Not happening. Not good at all. Man, this stinks. It's almost like they pulled the article or something like that. But anyways, we're going to keep rolling. Vicken says, can you talk about the Lake Mary community? Well, other than the Bank of New York Mellon adding 1,200 jobs up there, I love Lake Mary in general. I think that, it's a little bit harder and tucked away. Once you get there, there's everything that you would need, but it is harder to get to. And so the beautiful thing I think about it is that you have larger lots many times. You've got beautiful gated communities, but then you've got a really cute little downtown as well. It's a lovely community. Like everybody that I know that lives there, like is very, very connected and has been there for years. There's really not a lot of new construction. It just doesn't exist. And so, that's one thing, but like if you want more of an established community, it's awesome. It's a really great place to live. You've got Heathrow up in that area, gorgeous community. Like again, older, larger houses might need a little bit of love, but overall, great place to live. Mario says, what's up from Toronto? Good to see you. Nuru says, I just signed on my second home in Clermont this year. Heck yeah, that's awesome. JJ says, hey, hi from Hunters Creek. Great video, but so much was left out, like Shingle Creek Trail soccer, baseball programs for kids. I see a top things you don't know about Hunters Creek. Well, listen, man, why don't you send it to me? And if you send it to me, I'll make sure that it makes the blog and we will put together Things You Don't Know by JJ Hernandez about Hunters Creek. Is that fair? For sure. So Devar says, Ashton Woods and Hills of Mineola is almost sold out. Any other communities like this will be coming to the area we live in. Love probably the Duval floor plan. I live in an Ashton Woods Duval floor plan. We love that one. We actually split the second story into a loft area, and so a lot of space for the kids to live, and so place for kids to hang out. It's awesome. It's a really, really good one. But in terms of anything else coming to Mineola, you've got Dream Finders. There's a lot more land left, and I can definitely fill you in on a couple new neighborhoods as they start to come on board. Nothing immediate though. Mario says, hey, can I talk about more of the Bank of New York Mellon jobs? So they're talking about they're going to be expanding this whole thing all the way through 2024. The building itself will be ready in 2024. I actually reached out to the Orlando Economic Partnership today to talk about their hiring plans and getting sort of that plan so I could pass that off to a lot of our clients, because we do have a lot of people from all over the country that were like, we would love to move to Orlando. We just have to line up a job. And so we're actually creating a whole list of like some of the major companies that are hiring here. And so I'll definitely keep you posted. All right. So My Fair Play says, given the housing market, how do I view renting a property that was up for sale? I mean, that's a tough one, right? So you have to understand a couple things, that if the person's buying the house as an investment, Will they let you keep living there? Are they going to jack up the rent once your lease expires? Those sort of things. That's one thing to consider. If you're buying a house where they're just going to kick you out as soon as the rent is or the lease is up, you just have to be ready to move again. It's a very tough spot to be in. Like, I've bought houses before where the tenants were in place and I kept them on the same lease until that expired, and then we had to go to market rate. The two that I bought where tenants were in place, they were paying way, way, way less than what market was. So I just brought it up to whatever the par for that area was. But it can be a little bit of a sticky situation. I would love to be in a situation where you knew the landlord a little bit more, that they were going to hang on to the house so that you don't have to move often, because that's one of the hidden costs of renting, is having to move all the time. People don't think about. John Hickman says, that's the house I'm building, the Duval in the hills of Mineola. Can't wait. That's awesome, man. It's a great model. It really is. They do a really great job. Ashton Woods has that same model over in Horizon West at North. My team's going to roast me on this. North Lake. I'm blanking on it right now. But Ashton Woods community in Horizon West has a Duval model as well. I just toured that not too long ago. All right. I'm dying over here trying to figure out this map. Entertainment complex. Let's see. DRP homes. Central Florida, maybe. We're just letting the air breathe over here. I hate dead air. I really do hate it, but I also wanted to see this real bad. Kim says that she's paying cash for her house. No scam there. That's awesome. Congratulations. So, Kim, I'm curious if you're willing to let me and the world know, did you sell something somewhere else to be able to take that cash and buy in Clermont? Because that would kind of line up with a lot of the things that we see here. But I am kind of curious to see what you say there. Lou says he moved over from LinkedIn. Let's see. There we go. I found it. There we go. All right. So I think this is a big deal. Let me make sure I'm logged in here. Boom, I am. All right. So I think this is a big deal because you start looking at, it took forever, like 8 years for the Orlando Magic development team to put together their $500 million district, where the first phase was $500 million, and they're continuing to go. And so we're all excited. They're starting to move dirt. Things are actually happening. And not only are they happening, but they're actually starting to add housing, and they're starting to add their phase 2 and really like push this forward, which I think is a really big deal. And if you look at the district here, it's starting to take shape of like what this is actually going to look like. Because before it was kind of hard for people to understand. It was just 2 towers sitting there. And it's like, oh, that's it. But when you look at the actual shopping district that's coming to this area, I think this is exciting. When you think about being able to pour out from the Amway from a concert or watching the Magic win, and then walk over to restaurants and things to do outside, then they are going to have apartments and office space and all of this other stuff. But like this part right here is very exciting to me. And then over to our left here, if you see, it would be like all this walkable space next to the I-4. It's going to start transforming downtown, which is just so needed. I mean, we need a lot of things for downtown. But seeing this actually take place for phase 1, starting to move, and they're actually putting toward permits, and they have their developer picked out and they're moving forward, and then also announcing phase 2 that's actually coming on board. I'm excited. I'm like very big about the downtown area. More water, less talk. Oh yeah. Dickens says Clippers Nation. That's okay. Pickle says, I'm a big fan of Mineola. Lots of great amenities coming in. I agree. When you look at the food all coming in, you look at everything going on up and down right off the 408. It's pretty amazing. My whole team went out to the hills of Mineola. They have like a 55 and older community there with Pulte. It's a Del Webb Mineola is what it is actually. And when you look at the amenities of somebody retiring and being able to get kind of like a gated community with lifestyle amenities and all that kind of stuff, it makes me feel like I'm going to either end up one of 2 places. I'm either going to end up on a lake house and just have that out my back door, or I'm going to live in a Del Webb community because they look fantastic and the amenities are awesome. And being around other people that are similar to you, I think is pretty cool overall. Eli says, anything new in the horizon for Dr. Phillips? Well, the biggest thing I think for Dr. Phillips that I'm most excited about is that they're figuring out traffic. We actually sent my videographer out to get drone of this. So if you're not following us over on the Orlando Reel on Instagram, make sure you do that. But they're having the new extension over there for Daryl Carter Parkway is finally taking shape. Like that should be done next year. And then over the next 2 years, they should have the new Sand Lake turnaround. And that might not seem like a lot, like, oh, it's just road work. But if you ever try to get off on Sand Lake off of I-4 around rush hour time, it's like 30 to 40 minutes of your day just gets zapped. So the fact that they're adding new off ramps like a mile away, that will alleviate traffic. And then all that stuff, I think, is a really big deal. Beyond that, Dr. Phillips is fairly well built out. There is a new restaurant coming in. Unicorp is just putting in for design over on Restaurant Row. They're going to be doing like a multi-staged, and Chuck, who owns the company, is very into like the whole Miami vibe. I feel like he pulls a lot of stuff from New York and Miami and that sort of thing. So higher end restaurants for the Dr. Phillips Restaurant Row area, I think is cool. But beyond that, you've got like one more neighborhood in all of Dr. Phillips, and then pretty much all the land's gone. So if you're looking for a house and you're looking for new construction, your time's running out. David says a custom home builder is starting to take orders on lots in a new community called Brindley Farm on the shores of Lake Apopka. I'm sure it'll be over my budget, but exciting to see in my area. Yeah, that's only like a couple miles down from our office. Element Builders is actually the builders that are going to be putting in there. And if you've been in and around Windermere, they have a bunch of little small enclaves of homes. They're usually only doing like 8 to 12 different sort of houses at a time. But they're a nicer product for sure. I think Brindley Farms, they are going to do more of a custom approach, whereas over at 535, they have like a row of 10 houses that they're going to be just doing spec houses there. But Brindley Farms is going to be great. I think there's so they're going to be developing it. I'm sure they're going to be bringing in other builders to help build out that neighborhood a little bit more. But yeah, that's an exciting one. If you want the views and be like, 5 minutes from downtown Winter Garden at the most, very good one. All right, here we go. Johnny says, when I'm 55, it's the Villages for me. Party town for the older folks. This is true. This is very true. Let's see. What else do we got here? I know I missed a couple other ones. Lou says, is there a Mineola in Florida? Yeah, of course. It's right next to Clermont. It's like super accessible. Is there a Mineola where you're from? Is that why you're asking? JJ says, for your blog, send it to, you can send it to info@positgroup.com. Would probably be the best one. And we'll definitely see it. I'll make sure we get it written up. All right. Also, permits filed today for Surf Park. We're excited. It's only 25 minutes if we go back way through Western Way. Yeah, the whole Surf Park thing is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. If you don't know, over in Horizon West, they have a surf park going in. It's going to have 10-foot waves. It's going to have, I'm excited. It's like right off of 429 and kind of the Sinclair area. So right over by Hamlin, if you're familiar with where that's at. And it's just a different thing. I mean, listen, I'm okay with Starbucks and Miller's and Chick-fil-A going in, like all that stuff's needed, but like something cool like that, like a really cool amenity. I am not coordinated at all when it comes to like surfing or wakeboarding or any of that, but I am for sure going to go do a video on it. Absolutely. Let's see. Lou says, yeah, Mineola is a place in Long Island. Yeah, there sure is one, right? All right, this is a good question, Thomas. If you could recommend a place to live that would be midway between Disney and Universal, where would it be? All right, so I got you. Let's look on the map together and I will talk to you about why, all that good stuff. Let's see, over here, and boom. All right, my dude. So the easiest is, it's kind of no man's land right in between it, because you've got Bay Lake, Lake Buena Vista, Disney World down here. And so Celebration makes a lot of sense. Hunters Creek makes a lot of sense if you want to be closer on the Disney side. If you want to be right next to Universal, you're talking about Dr. Phillips, Bay Hill area, a little bit of like unincorporated Orange County. I love this little strip over here of unincorporated Orange County. There's a neighborhood called Royal Cypress right over here. There's Cypress Chase North, Chatham, all these right up and down here where Evermore is actually going in. It's a great like unincorporated area. It's 32836 is the zip code. It's not Dr. Phillips and it's just Orlando, and it's like unincorporated unincorporated Orange County. It's a really great place to live, and there's a lot of little neighborhoods over there that you might consider depending on your price point. But really, when you think about it, though, it's like looking at the map. It's either your Dr. Phillips and or Windermere, and that's super close to Universal, or you're down at Celebration and Hunters Creek if you're Disney, or Horizon West, which is really, really Disney up here because you're on Disney's backyard. So that's, there's really not a perfect Williamsburg, I guess. I don't know that Williamsburg is like massively popular yet, although I have been kind of fielding different investment opportunities there because I do look at with Epic coming in. There's going to be a lot of opportunity in that area. I think mostly going to be on the apartment side, though, more than anything. But yeah, that's my go at that question. Mario says, "Hey Ken, what's a multi-generational floor plan going for these days anywhere in Orlando?" It's an interesting one in terms of, I know Lennar has a really great multi-gen house, but it's going to depend on the area. And those multi-gen houses are really expensive. It's almost easier to get like an over garage apartment added, and that you can get in like the 600 to 800 range. I know a good friend of ours just bought a house over in Horizon West and put a garage over the apartment. She's paying somewhere in the sevens. So it depends on what you're looking for. And can the multi-gen person do stairs? I know down in Kissimmee and Davenport, there were some really great neighborhoods by Lennar where they were doing like the same house, but then sort of split. Down in Davenport, actually Champions Gate, believe it or not, they have a really great multi-gen house where you've got two front doors. The one house kind of has 3,000 square feet, and the other one has a sort of like 800 square foot studio, but then they connect through a door in between. So they're all over the place. It just depends on what area of town you're looking for, and then we can help you kind of dial it in a little bit more. I'm guessing you're talking about where I was pointing to between Universal and Disney. Yeah, it's Orange County. Give me 1 second. I talked about Lake Mary. Bicken, you got to go back up and listen, my friend. Lou says, how easy is it to get a certificate of occupancy for an above garage? It's easier and easier, man. Like this is going to be like in the downtown area, like some of the older communities, College Park, Thornton Park, they're pushing these ADUs where they're allowing you to build sort of that multi-gen space or something like over your garage. They're promoting it. It's something that listen, a lot of the land down there is built out. There's not like you go downtown Orlando and there's all of these lots that you can choose from or empty space with new construction. And so the ADU thing is becoming a really popular deal. I've got multiple clients of mine building right now where they had just sort of a 1-car garage in the backyard. They tore that down and now they're putting a 2-car garage with an ADU above it. So yeah, easy stuff. All right. So my throat is hurting. And so I'm going to wrap up. I got one more question I'm going to answer. Daniel says, thoughts on rate cuts for 2024? Shout out Jay Powell. Yeah, I never thought I would say shout out Jay Powell, but I mean, it looks as though rate cuts are here, right? We've seen rates come down. I think, staying the course is what Jay Powell said the other day. But I do believe 2024, we should be getting into the high fives, at least by the end of the year. So I'm pretty excited. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Next week, I will have our guest for the wrap-up episode of the Orlando Real Live. Appreciate you guys always checking in from wherever you're watching from, asking those questions. We'll try to cut these up as well and make them a little bit more newsy if we can in terms of over on our Instagram and our TikTok. If you don't follow us there, make sure you do. And until next week, I will see you guys online. See you. Bye.